And another spot in terms of coronavirus outbreak right now, we should take a look at Russia, because right now the number of new infection cases in Russia each day is quite high, and the total cases right now is more than 200,000 around the country. And right now we have Thai ambassador to the Russian Federation joining us live. So now let's welcome Ambassador Thanatip Upatising. Good evening, Ambassador. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับคุณรัฐาครับสวัสดีครับคุณเทพชัยครับ
Welcome to the program.
So how are you with the Russian situation? Can you just tell us how do you manage yourself? Do you mostly stay in the embassy these days?
In fact, yesterday I just went out to the airport to send out 97 Thais back to Thailand.
Okay, so
just yesterday, the measures for lockdown of Moscow and other part of Russia has been eased by the president of Russia. Right now, you can have like the sectors on agriculture, on construction, and also industrial and energy can be resumed.
Quite soon. So for how long that Russia has lockdown strategy? Not too long?
Almost 6 weeks. In fact, the border has been closed between China and Russia since mid of February this year. And at the same time, by March 30th, the president of Russia has announced non-working days for Russia.
I see. When they use the term non-working days, what does it imply? What kind of restriction it entails?
Well, it's work from home, and in certain part of the sectors like grocery, banking, and still open, while the government sectors like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia has informed all the embassies here to not to contact them at the headquarters, just only to contact through phone and teleconference.
I see.
Yeah.
And how did most of the embassies, including Thai embassy, of course, manage during the so-called non-working period?
Well, for us, we still come to work every day as normal because it does not include us for the embassy. And at the same time, there are a lot of Thai living in Russia who seek to return to Thailand. So far, we have managed to send back around 220 Thais back to Thailand with 4 flights. And there will be another 2 flights coming next week and before the end of May.
Yeah. Ambassador, we know that Russia is a very large country, and you said you sent Thai people to return home, 97 of them. And where are they from in Russia? And for how long that you have to collect these people to have the same flight together?
In fact, it's not an easy task. What we have to do, we communicate with our Thai people in Russia through our Facebook. If you check our Facebook, you would realize that we are the most frequent use of this social media in the world for the Thai embassy. For yesterday's flights, we informed them about 2 days before. Most of the passengers come from St. Petersburg and also from from Moscow, 97 altogether. In fact, we got a quota for 99 people, but somehow 2 didn't turn up.
I see.
Unfortunately.
So these are students or Thai workers?
Well, they are workers and some are Thai students. Because the university here is still open, even though they learn it by online. but
I see.
the course is still on.
But how was life for them under the non-working condition? Do you have any idea?
As far
did
as
they
we
tell
can,
you? Yeah,
well,
please.
during the first period when Moscow was locked down, not many people come out on the street because the government asked most of the people to get the e-pass, and they can come out twice a week for working. But for grocery, they can go to the nearest grocery to that place, not longer than 150 meters, and they can walk the dog. So at the initial stage, people seem to respect and abide with the measures. But for the last 2 weeks, somehow, most of the people just come out, especially on the 9th of May, which was the Victory Day, to celebrate the Second World War that they win. So most of the people just come out on the street, celebrate. So you can see that the outbreak of the infected rate increased lately.
That's right. Yeah.
Ambassador, and how do people cooperate with lockdown strategy and cooperation with the government, like social distancing, wearing masks, washing hands? Do people cooperate well with the measures?
Yes, like yesterday when the easing of measures for lockdown in Moscow, taking into account people must wear masks and also gloves in the public place. But for the theater, department store still closed, entertainment restaurants still closed. But as I mentioned to you, those sectors in agriculture, in energy, and also in the industrial, they are still they can operate now.
I see. Ambassador, the easing of the lockdown in Russia comes despite the fact that the country is now a new hotspot of coronavirus, and now Russia is the third most affected country in terms of infections. So what is the reaction of the people to find themselves in this situation, at being the hotspot of the virus, and yet the lockdown is being eased? Are there fears that there could be a new round of infections if things go wrong?
Thank you for asking this one.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I was quite lucky. Among 97 passengers, 5 are Thai medical students. So I talked to them. I said, look, tomorrow I will have to give an interview to ThaiPBS. The question to be asked to me will be this. So those Thai doctors, a medical doctor, said that the mortality rate here is quite low, less than 1%. And then actually we show the capacity of testing and also treatment, medical treatment, because not many people died, less than 1%, and the recovery rate is quite high.
I see.
So those Thai students said we can be a bit relaxed because the Russian government is quite capable. And if you look at the figure, you can see that nowadays more than 5.8 million people got tested already. And the president of Russia, Mr. Putin, has announced to increase the capacity of testing equipment to 180,000 a day. So by mid of May, there will be 200,000 people tested daily.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So far only 107 people have died according to the latest figures, and the total of the death is 2,000 something.
2,116, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ambassador, but with the total confirmation cases of Russia is the second highest after the United States. What's the mentality, what's the sentiment among Russian people right now as far as you can see?
Well, there is a pressure from the public, from the business sector. The President Putin had 6 meetings through conference call with the head of regions, 86 regions. And as you can see, Russia is a big country. So President Putin gives authority to the governor and also head of territories to decide. He's quite flexible. And you can see that in his 5th meeting with the head of a region, he mentioned that Russia is an old country and abide to the social value. So he won't sacrifice the life of the people for the economy. He also read like a book of Jack London, which is the truth of life or something. So in that book, he said, and all Indians will be left with food and fire in order to let the rest of the tribe continue their journey. But and he also mentioned about Sparta, which is Greek, ancient Greek. That Sparta always, those baby who is not strong enough, they will leave those baby to die. And this won't happen to Russia, because Russia grow up because of their ancestor who teach them to do everything. So he's not going to sacrifice the life of an old people with the economy. So they will go through the epidemic together. And once epidemic is over, then he will concentrate on reviving the economy.
But how have Russian people reacted to this kind of statement?
Russian people, they are quite they like their leader very much, especially for the visionary leader like President Putin. So most of the people will follow him.
I see. So his message has struck a right chord among the people then.
Yes, very heart touching.
Yeah, it seems quite, he has his own way to describe and having unity, words of unity among people. And what about the situation of medical personnel in Russia, Ambassador? You said testing can be conducted quite a lot. And what about the capacity of medical personnel?
In fact, what President Putin has done, he has prolonged the outbreak of COVID-19 from the beginning. If you follow the news closely, you will see that Russia is the last country that got infected by COVID-19. So Russia is delayed for 6 weeks. And during that period, the medical equipment, like the hospital bed, has been increased from 260,000 to 130,000 in order to accommodate with the severe case. Moreover, the ventilators equipment has been produced up to 65,000 units, which is prepared for the serious case. And from yesterday's meeting, President Putin has announced a bonus for the medical team who spend most of their time in order to combat with the COVID-19. But for Russia, this is not the second break, because the first break, has not yet arrived. The outbreak.
Yeah.
I mean, if you follow the news, if you look at the history, like Spanish flu in 1918 to 1920, it took about a year for the second wave.
That's right.
So the first wave has not yet arrived.
Ambassador, in Thailand, as you know, people who are hard hit by the pandemic have been given subsidies and other forms of assistance. What about in Russia? What kind of assistance programs has the government come up with to help those affected by the outbreak?
The employers are requested to pay while their business is closed. But we still receive a complaint from those employees. So most of the people will get leave without pay from the beginning.
I see.
And what about the fire at St. Petersburg yesterday that killed 5 patients at the intensive care unit? How do people respond and what's the sentiment?
Well, what I received from the news is that 5 died in the fire, and at the same time, everything is under control.
Yeah. So, Ambassador, when do you plan to have the next batch of Thai people in Russia to return to Thailand?
Hopefully on the 19th of May.
Okay. So
And also on the 25th of May. But this is what we are trying to work out with Aeroflot and also with the authority CAT in Thailand.
Yes.
And all the Thais, and as far as you know, all the Thais there are safe and healthy, right?
Well, they are healthy. In fact, the embassy, has dispatched the COVID-19 amenity to them. I myself went 4 times around Moscow in order to talk with the Thai people. As far as we can see, they still live happily. Their employers are very generous. Some of the companies even leave the cars, for the employees to drive for grocery shopping.
Very generous. And no reports of infections among these Thai people, right?
So far, no. But the last batch that we sent back to Thailand, 1 got infected. That's what we received from Thailand report.
Ambassador, with capacity of testing 200,000 a day, what's the procedure? Can people just walk into the hospital and have themselves tested?
Yes. In fact, before coming to your program, I just had the PCR test downstairs because for us at the embassy, we have to engage most of the time with the Thai people that we need to send back to Thailand. And just yesterday or a day ago, 97 Thais came here in order to get fit to fly certificate to meet with the doctors.